Today we will be hosting the webinar about reducing the cost of Jira Cloud. My name is Katarzyna Drożulkowska. I'm head of Atlassian services in Deviniti, and with me there is Szymon.
Hi, hello. My name is Szymon Szerewicz. I'm Atlassian DevOps team leader at Deviniti. My team is mostly responsible for cloud migration, but also for installation, upgrades, and all of background stuff in Atlassian environment.
Okay, so Deviniti is Atlassian Marketplace Platinum vendor and solution, also Platinum solution partner. There are more than 300 IT experts in our team, 18 years in the Atlassian ecosystem already. And we are one of the partners who is conducting migrations, and we have been lucky until now, and we have no rollbacks, especially when we have in mind migration of Jira to the cloud. So what we will be talking about today, the agenda is focus on cloud costs. What are the pricing structure and key cost factors, then 5 strategies for the cost optimization, and auditing the cost migrations with all the examples around that. So let's move forward. And one thing, if you will stay until the end of the webinar, we will be talking about the bonus you can get. So I will be more than happy to see all of you who are staying and then being able to use this bonus. So let's move to the first topic, why focus on Jira Cloud costs. First of all, cloud subscription, Atlassian cloud subscription are based on the amount of users, and they are subscriptions, so you are paying every month or every year. And most of our customers and the organization we know are trying to control costs. So it's strategic alignment to be able to find the Jira value, which you can get, and pay the less you can get to have this value. So every time you need to ensure the business value for the tools you are using, then spending every dollar need to be justified. And we will try to cover how to make sure you are doing this properly. So which are the key factors for the pricing of Jira? First of all, it's a user-based subscription. So the biggest driver will be the amount of users you have on the instance, and the price varies from the amount of the users on the instance. So it's starting from $3.41 to $8.6 for Jira subscription only for monthly payments, and this is per month. And so the annual cost can be really much higher than this. You have 4 plans starting from the free one, then standard, premium, and enterprise. The free plan is free up to 10 users, and you cannot overcome this amount. For the the next standard, premium, and enterprise, you are paying more if you want to get those features which are covered during those plans. Third, really important key factor is marketplace apps. You need to be aware that we don't know any customer who is not using at least one or more apps from the marketplace, but they are counted separately to the bill, and the more you have, the more you are paying. And there's also similar cases with additional Atlassian products like Jira Service Management, Confluence, Jira Product Discovery. Each product is paying separately. So despite the fact that you can pay only for Jira and it's small amount of money, then if you are getting next product, the bill is growing. So you need to be aware that you are using the product with the value you want to have from it. And the first step before moving to the strategies we want to share with you is the 2 links you need to be familiar with. The first one is Jira Cloud Pricing Calculator, and this is the tool provided by Atlassian which you can use to check how much you will pay for your subscription based on the plan you want to have, and the plan comparison, which enable you to find the difference between those plans and look for the features you really need to pay. Okay, let's move forward. 5 strategies we want to cover. Szymon, Maybe
Okay.
you will start.
Yeah, thank you, Kasia. So first strategy, user license optimization. In most Jira Cloud deployments, user-based pricing is the biggest driver of costs. So that's why managing license smartly can have immediately and significantly impact on your budget. So the first and most straightforward step is regularly review your users. We recommending doing this monthly or quarterly. You want to identify your users who haven't logged for 30, 60 days. Once those users are identified, you can deactivate them, move them to non-billable roles, so you don't need to pay for them. This alone can lead to major cost savings. So the next consideration is segment your users based on access needs. For example, you don't need to add full access for Jira software users. Probably that users can just use customers using Jira Service Management. In many cases, someone only needs portal access to submit requests, which doesn't require a paid license. So with proper segmentation and regular activity reviews, you can significantly reduce your license footprint without impacting productivity. And now we need to write tools to do that. Of course, Atlassian provides native reporting on user activity. You can export your users to Excel files. You can check where these users are actively used, to which products the users have access. But for more advanced options, you need to have Atlassian Guard. You can just using SSO, you can externally identify providers and add providers external IDP like Okta, Entra ID, OneLogin, Google Workspace, and it can help you to automate license control of your instance. Additionally, there are a lot of marketplace apps. We explained something about them later, but the goal here is automation and repeatability. You want this to be part of your ongoing and administrative routine and not just one-time cleanup.
Yes, exactly. There are a few third-party tools. You will be able to get back to these slides after the webinar. You will get access to it. Shimon, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, or we are
at the end?
At the end.
Session.
Okay. Yes. So let's move to the first example I want to share with you. There is a company, let's call it Company A. It's one of our customers. The footprint in cloud is really huge because there is 5,000 US dollar custom users in Jira Cloud Premium with 600 agents and 6,000 users in Confluence. So the annual cost without any apps, it's almost around $1 million. And when we were doing the assessment with them and we were trying to start the cooperation, we found out that around 40% of the users were using tool less than once a month, so really rarely. And based on that, we've implemented the mechanism that flagged the users inactive for 7 days. Then they were using scripts for auto remove access for people who were not using really frequently the tools. And we were able to cut the cost by 30%. So $300 annually. And it's really a huge saving for this company. So the key takeaways from this part is always reviewing and resizing license periodically. You need to make sure you are paying for the amount of users you need to have on your instance. And really great takeaways to integrate the onboarding and offboarding of employees with the accesses, because not every company is doing this exactly this way. And monitor active usage. Shimon says this should be periodically task for your Jira administrators. So let's move forward to the second strategy.
Okay, thank you. The second strategy is about auditing of your plugins and add-ons. It's easy to lose a track of which app you've installed in Jira over the time, especially if you have a lot of Jira administrators earlier. It very often happens that many administrators install some apps because they are free. Then they go to the paid license and you paid for it, but probably a lot of users don't even know that functionality exists and no one uses it. So many organizations accumulate thousands of plugins, often with overlapping functionality and no active usage of it. That's why we recommend creating routine audit schedule every, for example, 6 months. I think it's a good starting point. You should check which app are being used, how frequently, and by whom, of course, because we need to find that people which are actively using it, because it could happen that only 5 persons are using some plugins and you're paying for 1,000 user license. So it's a lot. Probably you can move some steps to reduce it. Some popular apps like Script Runner or Tempo provide their own usage or dashboards to evaluate this, how actively is used that plugin, and always consider native Jira functionalities or automation rules. Probably you can replace some of that paid app with built-in functionality in Jira Cloud. And what tools we can use for it? Of course, we can just check with Universal Plugin Manager. It's always best to, if you're not sure that your app is actively used, you can just turn it off and see what happened. If no one reports you that some functionality is missing, so probably no one are using this app. But if you want deeper insight, tools like app usage for Jira are very powerful. This app could track usage and user level across the projects. In the screen, you can see example that plugin with Adaptavist Script Runner for Jira. You can check the common usage of that application, custom fields from that workflows, dashboards. It's very useful, especially when you want to migrate from data center to cloud. To evaluate that before migration, probably it will be helpful, and it can help you to eliminate some plugins before you will be migrated to the cloud. App audits should be as routine as license reviews. They ensure your environment stays lean, efficient, and cost effective.
Okay, so let's move to the example of the company B. When we were starting the first service contract with them, they were using 15 marketplace apps across the Jira instance. When we were trying to identify owners or any documented usage, it turns out that for 5 of them, this is impossible. No one knows who were using those apps, why they were used. So we found out that we can simply remove it and cut costs of unused products on their instance. And by that, we want to ensure you that sometimes less is more. So if you have this mindset, you will not install many apps, or you will be trying to use what you already have or the built-in functionalities. And second, conduct at least yearly audits if you are paying on an annual subscription, and see what plugins do you really need. Maybe you can cancel some subscriptions and then decrease the costs. And try to promote native Jira features. This is really important. The Jira features are growing, and the roadmap is really huge. So sometimes things you were able to do in the plugins, you can right now do in the native Jira, and you can try to use this option. Let's move to the third strategy.
Third strategy is about leveraging Jira's automation. When the organization don't realize how powerful is this native tool, it can replace entire categories of plugins, saving both money and administrative effort. So, for example, you can automate tickets, assignments, tagging, transitions, and even SLAs in some cases without needing third-party tool. So one of the best practice is to centralize your automation rules. Instead of building the same rule 10 times across different projects, you can use global rules where it is possible. And if you feel it's limited by functionality, automation rule library. It has hundreds of pre-built templates you can customize by your own. And we can go to the tools. You need to remember that automation is available from free tier. Of course, there is some limitation in free tiers, and going upper by plans, standard, premium, and enterprise, you have less limitation. In enterprise, you have no limitation to run this. You need to remember that you have this automation library rule. which you can use with pre-built templates, and it's good to remember to have this centralization automation rules in one place. So automation isn't just a technical feature, it's a strategic tool to reduce manual work, minimal efforts, and lower your cost.
Okay, so let's move to the example. We had a challenge with one customer organization. They were project managers who spent significant time on doing the manual status reporting across different Jira projects. They were considering upgrade to Jira Premium to use the advanced roadmaps for cross-project reporting. And we found the alternative approach, like building the Jira automation, which will be aggregated the status updates and send weekly summary emails to the specific group of people. And it turns out that the outcome was eliminated a huge amount of the hours of manual work and avoid unnecessary upgrade to the premium. So they saved 77% of the annual cost by sticking with Jira Cloud and Confluence standard, and instead of moving to the premium. So sometimes it's really important to try to find out another way of doing the same thing. So there are a few takeaways here. Let's think about the automation as a force multiplier. So it's not only about the price of the subscription, but also about the money you can spend on different things and doing better things than just simply manual work, which can be reduced by automations. Okay, let's move to the fourth strategy.
The fourth strategy is about data management and storage policies. You need to know that if you are on the standard plan, you have limit of 250 gigabytes of data on your instance. Of course, in premium and enterprise is unlimited, but probably in some cases you don't need such a plans and you need to pay extra cost for things you don't will use it. So you will have that limit of 250 gigabytes on the standard. It's also especially important if you're thinking about migration from DC to cloud and you're wondering which plan it will be suitable for you. So as your instance grows, so your storage data use also, and that can push you in more expensive plans if it's not controlled. So what we can do, we can start having completely other projects or only issues. Also, we can go through backlogs and eliminate these outdated tickets. Another tip is to limit attachments, because especially, for example, marketing and graphic designers team can put a lot of raw videos or images with hundreds of gigabytes of data, and we can limit this storage, for example, to 20 megabytes or even less if it's needed on our case. Think of storage management not as a one-time cleanup, but as ongoing policy that keeps your environment clear and efficiency. So what tools we can just use? Of course, that built-in Jira functionality to archive our projects, but also we can use the project track that can help us to have and find inactive of regional projects. We can also use script runners to write bulk scripts to archive or delete project data, like example, all attachments or all tickets. But also we can use tools like Git Protect IO or Revise to create secure backups and restore points from production to test environment or archive environment, where we can move this old data and restore this on that second environment. Altogether, the goal is remove what you don't need, so while ensuring what you do keep is backed up and compliant.
Okay, so let's move to the example in this area. We were working with financial service company. They limit the Jira storage limit is 250 gigabytes, as Shimon said already, and they were already at the 200 gigabytes. So they feel they are forced to do the upgrade to premium. So first, they try to move as many attachments to the external file server and just link them to the Jira, not to have them in their Jira instance. And they activated 1 month premium trial used to archive to use the archive feature, and to archive project they didn't need, and they downgraded back to the standard, because it turns out that they don't really need the premium because they reduced the storage to around 100 gigabytes. So they avoided paying 57% annually more just by upgrading to premium, without the need for different feature and other feature than just simple have the bigger storage. Okay, so the takeaways: try to not avoid paying for empty space. So pay for what you really need. Make a cleanup a habit. We are saying this for I believe at least the third time already, but the more you are thinking about the cleanup and what you are checking and doing during this task, is the really important to not overpaying for something you really don't need. And data governance, you need to have in mind that this is an important part, and then without that you can have a slower performance in your instance, especially for data center, and people will be complaining on that. Okay, so let's move to the fifth strategy.
The final fifth strategy is choosing the right plan and licensing options. So selecting the right Jira Cloud plan and licensing options. Atlassian offers you here 4 plans: free, standard, premium, and of course enterprise. The higher you go, the most features you get, but only if you actually use them. Many organizations stay premium or enterprise for the 1 or 2 features, but if those features aren't critical, you might be overpaying for that license. So use Atlassian pricing calculator. Kasia shows a link at the beginning of that webinar to see different models, user and app combinations for that, and compare this feature very carefully. Sometimes, while a little adjustment to your process, a lower tier plan will be more than enough for you. This is one of the easiest areas to find quick savings, just understanding your true usage of application, because you want to overpaying for that license.
Okay, so let's move to the example in this area. We were working with a mid-sized tech company, 300 users in Jira, so not really big company, but they feel they are enterprise scale, so they need to be at least on premium, and that's what they mindset, that they need to pay for something better because they just need to be better. But they never used sandbox, release tracks, advanced roadmaps, only few users of that tool, and it turns out that they don't really needed the premium. They were just thinking they really needed, but they downgraded after a year to the standards, and then they were able to cut the cost by 44%. So not really a small amount, but this is still connected with the mindset of you should pay for things you really need. So the takeaways in this area: resize your plan. If you are on a monthly payment, you can change this frequently. But if you are on an annual payment, then once a year before the subscription renewal, you can resize your plan. You can choose what you really need, and sometimes downgrade to a lower plan is not something which is really bad option. Try to think one more time. Try to think about the value for what you are paying, and look for the real business value of the features you need. It's not a luxury. You don't need to pay it if it's not necessary for your business. There is one more takeaway for part of you. There are sometimes the option to divide the instances into smaller ones, and for some organization it works, especially for those who can create sometimes a free instance for specific amount of the users. Okay, so let's move to the things you should think before moving to the cloud. If you're on a data center, let's a little bit elaborate on that. I see there is plenty of questions, so we need to be able to cover them.
That. Okay, to wrap things up, I want to emphasize that migration to the cloud, it's not just a technical shift, it's a strategic opportunity. It's your chance to clean house, remove legacy configuration, eliminate unused data, and rest your instance to align with today's needs, not yesterday's history. Rebuild your permission structure with role-based access, streamline your projects and workflows. Smart migration reduces your cost, improve performance, and enhance government. And remember, the more intentional your migration will be, the greater your return on investment. Don't just move to the cloud, optimize this as you go. And here you've got table with some action points. You can go back after the webinar, what you can do to do some steps to reduce your cost during the cloud migration.
Okay, so then the really important thing about the app usage for Jira.
Yeah, we've got some tools we mentioned before. Of course, you can find similar application on the marketplace and check it by your own, but we have a few of them here. First of all, it's free Atlassian application app usage. This is dedicated for the data center. It's very helpful during the cloud migration. It monitors how apps and plugins are used within Jira, helps identify unused or rarely used apps, enabling teams to eliminate unnecessary license and cut costs. Next one is Optimizer for Jira. It analyzes and cleanups your Jira configuration, projects, workflows, etc. Support very carefully your instance optimization. It can help you reduce complexity and lowers administrative and performance-related costs. And next one is Dr. Pro for Jira. It scans your Jira setup for mixed configuration, performance risks, potential issues, but also user statistics, offers automatic suggestions for fixes, and it is helping you to prevent cost errors and save admin time. And the last one is Jira Instance Auditor. It acts like health auditor, detects unused element, risky configuration, and potential security issues. It also can help teams to clean up their instance and reduce maintenance and costs. And last, but sorry, not last. One of the last is database script to execute on the database. This is also for cloud migration. You need to remember that database scripts also are powerful tools and help you during the migration to check your active users, active add-ons. So you need to know that it's a very powerful tool to check everything before the migration.
Okay, so
and the
last one
is Jira Cloud dashboards. There are a lot built-in functionalities in Jira Cloud in admin organization admin panel. One of them is active users dashboards, which you can just look through the timeline, what number of users are currently logged into your instance, and here you can just easily track, for example, that you buy 200 user license, but here you will see that only 84 users in peak are logging to your instance. So probably you don't need them all, and you can reduce your cost by this.
Okay, so I see there's plenty of questions on the chat. If we will not be able to cover everything, or you have something specific, you can get back to us after the webinar. You can send an email to me or to Shimon, and we can have a practical session based on your experience, your environment, and try to cover all your questions you will still have. And this is, of course, free of charge. There is no sales pitch during this session. This is just to make sure you are getting exactly what you need from after the webinar. So in case there will be something you want to ask us, then we are more than happy to answer during these questions. After the webinar, you will get the invitation to our Knowledge Hub. There you will be able to find all the materials from the previous webinars, infographics, replays of our webinar. You will get also access to the recording from this one and to the presentation we are showing to you right now. And let's move to the part of the Q&A. I will be trying to cover as much as possible. I see there is a lot of questions on the chat already. So the first one, are users that have been suspended still being paid for?
No, it shouldn't be. If you have instance and your suspended users mark as paid, it's some kind of bug, and you need to contact Atlassian support, but you shouldn't pay for them. If you deactivate them, suspend them, they should be free users.
Yes, exactly. What about tempo reports, tempo teams, other long-term reports on the use of human resources for deactivated users?
Yeah, so tempo is very powerful app, but I think tempo reports not help you very much with checking what users are actively use your instance. Maybe in case if you have in your organization procedure to log everything what that employee doing on your instance, and you see that backlog is empty, so maybe this is the case, but you more see that users are working or not if they are actively use Jira Cloud, for example. So I think the tempo here is not the best application to do that.
Yes, especially that tempo is not handling properly the reports based on the deactivated users. So if someone is deactivated, then it's really hard to get back to their work logs, for example, and especially on data center. I believe we have experienced that in the past. I don't know if we covered the everything in this question, but maybe we didn't find the proper context after what we shared. Okay, so the next one can be re-enrollment of users deactivated automatic, by example, using just-in-time enrollment.
Yes, so if you have Atlassian Guard and you have connected external IDP like Entra ID, Google Workspace, if you disable these users on that IDPs in your application, in your Jira Cloud, these users should be also automatically deactivated. Also, you can just prepare manual API scripts, but it takes a lot of work to do. But yet, with Atlassian Guard, you can just automatic this on that way.
Okay, so the fourth question, is it possible to allow by Atlassian to reduce license during the contract period? Otherwise, the cost wouldn't go down, right? I believe that this question was connected with the annual contract. So during the annual contract, you are not able to reduce the number of users, change the plan, anything, because you are paying in advance. That's why sometimes, not every time, but sometimes it's better to pay monthly. It can reduce cost if you have experienced the fluctuation of the amount of users, or you need to, or you know you will need to change something during the period. Then it should be cheaper. But based on our experience, all the time you need to have in mind that you can do this calculation on the calculator, and you can check. Sometimes the amount of users is cheaper if you are buying in monthly than annually, but every single case can be different. So let's try to make the calculation before deciding moving to the monthly or annual. And sometimes unpredictable things can happen, and you will need to upgrade even if you're on an annual payment. So you need to have this mind and calculate one more time. Okay, let's move to the next question. Do I need to have a script runner on each Atlassian instance, or one plugin can be used across all Atlassian instances?
So unfortunately, if you want to use script runner, you need to buy it on each instance. In the cloud for our application, you have automation for Jira in your plan. So maybe you don't need script runner, you can just use that automation with that library of presets of automation rules. But unfortunately, if you buy script runner, you need to buy for each instance. I don't remember how it looks like in the enterprise, but
for now, exactly the same. This is something I want to talk a little bit more. There are things called apps editions. So for part of apps, there is an option to buy standard or premium. I didn't see anything which was produced for enterprise right now, but we know that there is a chance in the future this will change. So there will be enterprise apps where you will be able to buy exactly as an enterprise plan. So for one amount of user and use it across different instances, but this is not possible today. For sure. Aren't most apps usage based on the license tier we have in Jira and not at individual basis? So can reduce the licenses on some. Is that correct? So yes, the marketplace apps needs to be by exactly the user tier you have on the main product. For now, this is impossible to reduce the number for apps only, but we've seen cases where companies try to divide it instances. So especially if you are under the enterprise umbrella, this is possible to have different environments and different apps on each environment then. We know it's possible, but sometimes the organization effort is bigger than the reduce of cost only on these licenses. So you can try this option, but we cannot guarantee that the cost in total will be less. Okay, let's move to the next question. Is there a way to split JSM licenses so more users can have standard and some users premium license? We have about 27 JSM standard users and 28 Ops Genie licenses. We would need around 40 users on JSM with premium license, which is nearly double compared to Ops Genie and JSM standard solution. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So first of all, soon Ops Genie will be part of Jira Service Management. Now, in some cases, there are some functionalities from Ops Genie in Jira Service Management, but in general, you cannot on the one side you cannot split some users to premium and some users on standard. If you want to split it, you need to have two separate service desks. One in premium license and second in standard. You cannot split it by one site.
Yes, exactly. So if you need one site, then you need to have everyone on the same plan. Users inactive for 25 days are deactivated pre-billing, but they reactivated via email without approval. Since Atlassian has removed to prorated pricing, can we find a way to prevent unnecessary costs?
Probably you have option selected to accept users via email or via link. So probably you just need to disable this option. Probably you have added your domain to allow list that users can log in automatically via email link or other options.
Okay, so let's move to the next question. Does automation come with extra costs?
So in standard and premium plan, we've got some limitation. You can find this on Atlassian documentation. I don't remember numbers from my head, but there is limited by execution. It's multiplied by number of users you have. But if you have this limit, you can just buy extra executions from Atlassian. In enterprise, you don't have any limitation, but you need to know that there is some limitation for free, standard, and premium for that executions.
Okay, and just have in mind, most of our company customers can meet those limits and not overcome them. So it's of course this can happen, but it's not always happening. So you need to upgrade or pay additionally.
Yeah, you need to build this automation very carefully because probably you don't need a lot of automations that you run. You can just group them, or you can just you need to just think smart doing the build it.
Okay, let's move to the next question. 30 days of no activity seems to be a short period, vacations, sick leaves, etc. How you deal in such cases with notification to users, assigned task, or so on, when user is removed? So first of all, it's not a removal of the user, but the activation of the user. Am I right,
Correct.
Szymon?
I think so. So a lot of organizations have procedures for that. For example, if the employee comes back from vacation or sick leave, this user will create ticket on, for example, Jira Service Management. Your supervisor will accept it, and it will be added manually, for example, by your IT, or you can just do some scripts to automate that. For example, if your supervisor accepts your access request, then some scripts will be run in the background automatically, and you will be granted access, for example, in Entra ID.
Okay, so next question. I still not understand how it's possible to switch to another license model for 1 month when I have purchase a 1-year license. Szymon, do you want to take this? Or?
If you have annual license, you cannot just move from one plan to another for only 1 month. Of course, it's possible to go to higher plan. If you have monthly plan, you can change it during that period. But if you want to just test some functionalities from higher plan, for example, you can just create trial instance and look at this functionality there, or even you can just import your data on that new instance and check how it will be look like on that new plan.
Okay, next question. What are hiving or deleting legacy project help reduce costs?
Yeah, if you have standard plan or even free plan, you need to remember you have limitation. In standard plan, you have that 250 gigabytes. So if you will archiving or deleting old projects, you will just save this space for your data, and you don't need to pay for moving to premium plan where is this data storage is unlimited.
Okay, next one. I don't actively use Jira, but provide it for users. Is there a way to convert an existing Jira software project into a service management project?
Yes, it's possible. It depends of your use cases and your process, but we've got special dedicated consultants team that very often try to help you and audit your instance in business conspect, and then it could happen that you can move that process from software to Jira Service Management, and that users can be just customers, and you don't need to pay for that license.
Okay, question about best practices. Do you recommend to identify and remove unused licenses automatically, or maybe based on your experiences, better to identify user which can be disabled and then disable them manually?
It depends of the cases, because sometimes you cannot just catch that people which are using for some specific apps, for example. So in that case, the best will be just disable some apps and check if someone contact you. If not, probably you don't need this app. You can just delete it from your instance, and you don't need to have any extra costs regarding that.
I believe the question was about the users, so the question will be a little
Sorry.
bit different.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so regarding the users, yes, you can just maybe not remove at the beginning, but just deactivate them, because if you remove them, you've got, I think, 30 days before that users will be deleted permanently. So first of all, you can just deactivate them, and then in more time, for example, half of the year, you can set up that type of users will be deleted from your instance. But I just recommend not delete, but only deactivate them.
And when we have in mind that it's automatically or manual process, it depends on the size of the companies and the way you are managing the users. So the bigger company, probably there is easiest option is to do this automatically, and because you don't know those people, you don't know when to disable them, etc. So still depends on the on your case. But I believe both options are correct. We have 4 minutes until the end of the time for today, and I believe there is still a few questions. I am not sure if we can cover all of them, but let's try. I am currently using the Atlassian free plan for Jira software, which allows up to 10 users. However, even though I've added only 5 so far, I'm unable to add any more. So this seems to be a strange situation. Unfortunately, without looking at your organization panel, we won't be able to find out the case. Maybe by contacting Atlassian support, there is an option to get a proper answer to your question. Okay, currently I have Jira Data Center, but the cost continuously increased. Please suggest if we migrate to cloud, it will be a benefit for us or not? So the proper question is, unfortunately, it depends. For most companies, the move to cloud, sometimes it's unfortunately higher and more expensive. Still, the value in cloud and usage of the cloud products can be much better than for data center. It depends on how you are working on your instance, what tools you are using, and what tools you can use if you were on data center, for example, Atlassian Intelligence or Rovo, or products which were produced only for cloud subscriptions like Jira Product Discovery. So I believe this is a conversation for a separate call, and we can try to help you assume if the cloud move is better for you or not. What I can say from our experience, it's the move to cloud makes you find other value of the tool you have right now. Of course, the cost of projects of the migration and then setting down users in cloud sometimes can be high, but the way of usage of cloud is different. And from our experience is better. Most of our customers and we, as an organization, we are more than happy to be on a cloud and experience new products and new features which we didn't have on the data center. Especially that Atlassian is right now only developing cloud, and we see the difference during the last few years. So guys, unfortunately, there are more questions on the chat, but we won't be able to cover everything. Please get back to me or Shimon via email if you want to get the answers to the rest of the questions. I hope you enjoyed the session today. It was helpful for you somehow. And let's get back to us. I saw that you already get the information that we are doing the next webinar in 4 weeks from now. So I believe we will see at least part of you during next session. Sorry, I am ending this session only by myself. I don't know what happened with Shimon's internet connection, but thank you for being with us today. And this is the end for today. So thanks and see you next time.